Hello everybody, my name is Sean Harrison and I will be doing my week 6 lesson plan presentation today from my week 4 assignment lesson plan, and this is for Education 623 here at Liberty University, and the actual presentation itself is going to be covering the non-standard unit of measurement lesson plan that I put together. So this will be my first time actually presenting any kind of lesson plan out and having to do it in front of camera, so just kind of bear with me here and we're going to get through this together. So, all right, here we go. So, hello everybody, welcome to class. Everybody go ahead, take your seats. We got a pretty fun, interesting topic today. We're actually going to be talking about measurements, going to be talking about how we utilize measuring in everyday life, how if in a pickle you're trying to measure out something, but what happens when you don't have a ruler? What happens? What if you don't have that measuring tape on you, right? So let me go ahead and just start and just go ahead and ask, does anybody in here know what measurement is? How do you define it? How can you use it? Can anybody give me any kind of examples of it? Go ahead. Okay, yep, that's pretty good. Measuring does actually get utilized when we're discussing, height. Anybody here like to build anything on their free time? Construct a birdhouse, or work on anything, with their hands, make anything, crafts, projects. Anybody? Yeah, you? All right, excellent. So let me ask you this: how do you make sure that you have the appropriate size of wood, when you're actually trying to, cut out what you're trying to make right here? A ruler. Okay, yep, that's exactly right. We utilize a ruler. So with a ruler, that would be known as a standard unit of measurement, right? Because it has inches and it also talks about centimeters on it, right? So standard unit of measurement, as it can be defined, it's going to be something that we utilize in everyday standard world. In the United States, we utilize both inches and miles, and then if you go across, then you're looking at the the decimals of the centimeters, meters, all that kind of stuff, right? Kilometers, miles per hour, all that. So those are all different standard units of measurement, right? So we have inches. We also have centimeters. Anybody else? Okay, yeah. Like I was saying, you got miles per hour, right? Okay. So to me, a standard unit of measurement, it falls under one of these categories, right? To be able to actually measure something, a definition of measuring talks about obtaining the size, the length, the height of something. Being able to understand how far it is from one point to another point, right? You have to measure the distance in between the two of them. And so with these, you utilize an instrument, right? A standard unit instrument being ruler, right? You have a tape measure, right? Tape measure. Everybody's seen one of these before? See them with builders and things like that, but tape measures, right? So some other things too, if you're anybody's like a seamstress, right? Someone who makes clothes or does any kind of, wears like a tuxedo. Like I myself have to, if I do like a custom suit, something really interesting, right? So you go to your tailor, and the guy utilizes one of these. It's an actual measuring object in itself, and it doesn't actually hold the sustainability of a ruler, right? Because you can't bend a ruler, so if we did, we break it. But this has the flexibility and to make everything go around your head, around your shoulders, around your neck, right? So you're able to utilize this to measure from one object to another. Now, here's one of the things that we're going to talk about today. So everybody, you go ahead and just stand up at your seats and actually go ahead and partner up with one other person, and we're going to play a little game. It's a pretty interesting game, right? It's called Who's Taller, okay? So I don't think anybody in here is going to be taller than me. All right, so I'm going to be the tallest. I'll be the judge, right? I'm going to ask you guys, who do you think is taller? All right, so everybody partner up and let's see what we got here. What about you? Who's taller in between you guys? Is it Bill? Bill, you're taller? Okay, all right. Susie? Yeah? No? I don't know. It's a tough one. We have to measure that. I think Joey may have you there, Sue. All right, so let me ask you guys this. How did you know? How did you know that you were taller than the other person or that the other person was taller than you? Oh, go ahead. Okay, so you utilized, just vision, right? You can literally see that Bill is taller than you. Okay, and then that's a great way to put it. So, does anybody understand how that actually is? Anybody? You? All right, yeah, that is also correct. If someone is taller than you, there's the heads above you, right? You physically can see over top of them. Like I see over top of a lot of you. If everyone was to stand back to back, right, and check to see who was taller amongst everyone in our class, I'd be able to see over everybody, right? Just because I'm older and taller, I stopped growing, a long time ago. But all of you guys, won't always stay the same height. Maybe you'll grow another 3 feet, maybe another 1.5 feet. You never know, right? So the great thing about measurements, right? So how do we measure somebody if we don't have a standard unit of measurement to actually use it, right? So everybody in here just demonstrated that you guys have a knowledge and an understanding that, Bill over here is taller than Joe, right? But Joe may be taller than Susie, right? And so you can actually utilize this and just literally see it. You can physically see it. You can touch it, right? It's above your head. It's above you. It's another person, right? It's above everybody. So the thing about standard units of measurement, if you don't have a ruler to be able to figure out who's taller, there's a lot of different ways you can use a non-standard unit of measurement. So let me ask you this. Do you think how you guys just did the house taller game as a standard unit of measurement or a non-standard unit of measurement? Go ahead. Think it was non-standard? All right. I agree with that too. So, excuse me, a non-standard unit of measurement, right? Definition of it, it's the same concept, guys. It's the same concept of utilizing any sort of measurement. It's obtaining the height, the length, right? A measurement from one point to another of an object utilizing an instrument, right? And so the best part about, having these, instruments, if you don't have, a ruler, a measuring stick, you don't have those actual options at your disposal, what could you use? Go ahead. Yeah. Think you could? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You can use your hand. You can use your hand. You could use any sort of object. How about a pen? Permanent marker, right? Standard size. It's not like you could shorten them. You could technically cut it, right? But these don't come in a package cut in half. They come as a one. So today's lesson, I'm going to be talking about non-standard unit of measurement and how to utilize that in a real-world scenario. So for today, here's what we're going to do, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pass out required materials, but we're going to use, paper clips, all right? Something you can utilize in a classroom, right? We're going to use the objects that we find in here. So we're going to utilize a paper clip. We've got staplers, right? So some other stuff. We've got popsicle stick, right? We've got the actual marker to my whiteboards, right? We can utilize a whiteboard marker because they all are standard same size, Expo, dry erase. Some other things we could use. How about anybody taking notes? How about a pencil? How about an unsharpened number 2 pencil, right? All the same size, unsharpened, they come all up in the box together. So many, many objects can be utilized as non-standard units of measurement, right? And so to be able to utilize them, that's something we're going to learn today. Pretty exciting stuff, right? So one of the things that I think would be, pretty useful in life, if you're trying to figure out, maybe the distance on a map, right? You don't have a ruler, right? there's a lot of different tricks of the trade that you can utilize, but on a map it's got a scale, right? You can utilize the scale, and as long as you have the right common length of how far the scale is, you can use this to measure across from this T to this O, almost about a pencil, right? Excuse me. So one of these things I want to ask everybody is, how can we use these objects and various pieces that we can find in the world? These objects can be very useful, right? And so, what do you guys think? Let me ask you this one: should we utilize a pencil to measure from one point to another? And if we don't have a second pencil, do you think that we should use a popsicle stick? Or do you think that using, a couple pencils would probably work, right? What do you think, Bob? Yeah? You think a popsicle stick and a pencil? Okay. Okay, what's it? What do you think, Sue? 2 pencils? All right. So I think the best way to put it is you want to stick with the same unit that you use, right? Because if you change the size of the unit, not all popsicle sticks, for example, may be the same size as a pencil, right? So if we stick with the same object, be the best way to go about it, right? So, anybody have any questions or anything? Anybody? Okay. So, here's how we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and pass out the items, all right? And then I'm going to show you, how this works, right? So, for example, I'm going to utilize myself, right? And if I wanted to take the height of myself, right? So, using my whiteboard back here, I can stand against the board, take a pen, and I can just put it above my head, right? I can make a mark. Too easy, right? So, this mark up here symbolizes how tall I am, right? It actually represents how far I am from the ground all the way up where the top of my head is. So, by utilizing, for example, measuring stick, right? I can measure from the ground all the way up to my head. So if I do that, it puts me at approximately 6 feet and a half inch. Generally about 6'1", depending on the shoes. So for today, we're actually going to utilize some of those objects that I showed you: the pencil, the popsicle sticks, the staplers. We have our paper clips, and we also have our Expo markers we're going to go ahead and use. So I'm going to go ahead and pass out our practice sheet right here. And on this practice sheet, I've got 5 different sets of yarn. And on this yarn in itself, next to it, it's got the answers, 5 different answers. All right, so what we're going to do is everyone's going to group up. All right, so I want to get groups of 3 or 4, depending on how many numbers we end up with. But go ahead and group up with 4 people. All right, so you and 3 other guys or 3 other girls. And you guys are going to go ahead and get everything together and gather up. And I'm going to go ahead and pass out everything. Here you go, class. All right, cool. So here's what we're going to do. Everyone's going to utilize both the markers, the staplers, the pencils I've provided, the popsicle sticks. I want you to go ahead and check out a lot of the measurements on here, right? So one of the cool things is with our actual objects, right? So in order to measure them, we can hook paper clips together, right? So being able to hook paper clips together, being able to utilize Expo markers, they clip together like this, right? You guys can check it out. Staplers are pretty standard. They come basically a one-size-fits-all. And popsicle sticks, right? Just like a pencil, they're all going to measure out. So everyone's going to take their groups of 4. I'm going to come around, I'm going to check everybody. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at your paper. And on your papers, guys, you're going to measure out the yarn, all right, the cutout yarn. So use the objects I've given you and go ahead and test them out, right? Try the pencils on all of them, try the pencil on one of them, how many paper clips does it take to get from, maybe this second object right here all the way to, the end of the yarn? By my measurement, go ahead and put this up here, and by all of my paper clips, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 paper clips, right? So that's the example. So everybody go ahead and take your time. I'm going to go walk around and check everything out. All right. All right. Everybody looks good. Everybody understands how it's going on. So let me ask you this. What happens, Bill, you had a pretty good question when we were doing this. You said that you guys didn't have enough paper clips, right, to actually make one of the yarn. So did one of the other objects fit, Bill? Yeah? Two expo markers? All right, yeah. So 2 expo markers fit on there. No, that works, right? So the best thing about non-standard units of measurement, they're not always going to be exact, just like it comes down to what you have on a ruler, right? Because, here's at 5 inches and here's at 6 inches, right? But with an actual non-standard unit of measurement, guys, it's an approximation in itself, right? And so, I walked around and I could see you guys you're getting it, right? And I'm proud of you guys. You guys are doing excellent. You're doing awesome. You guys seem to have mastered the skill. So here's what we're going to go ahead and do. I want everybody to go ahead and pass up those worksheets, all right? Once they pass them up, I'm going to do a quick glance at them. You guys did a great job. And if anybody has any questions before we move on, then we'll go ahead and answer them, right? Do you have any questions? No? You guys are pretty good. You think you can go ahead and try it out and do it independently for me? Yeah? I think you guys got it. Group 1, you guys are doing good. 3 and 4, I got you. You guys are great. You're doing an excellent job. Everyone here has done a fantastic job so far. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and pass out the independent practice here. Guys, just so you know, for your independent practice worksheets, what we have is going to be the same concept. It's got our answers, but on this one, you can only use one object per piece of yarn. So I'm going to give you guys, everybody, those 5 objects to use. And once you guys are done, you can't use that object anymore, right? So with the first one, for example, it says we're going to use that pencil, right? And then we have paper clips here. Then we also have the whiteboard markers, the popsicle sticks, and then the stapler, right? And so everyone, once you utilize the pencil for the first one, you can't use the pencil again for number 2, 3, 4, and 5. So everybody go ahead and just go ahead and start forming the independent practice, and just take your seats as an independent, so everybody does it themselves. Anybody has any questions, go ahead and just answer and or raise your hand, and I'm going to come around and take a look and see what we can do, okay? So you go ahead and start it up. Here we go, passing all these out. Everybody's got all their actual materials needed. All right, here we go. Okay, guys. Thank you for turning in everything. I've looked at them. You guys did great. I wanted you guys to be able to demonstrate that you could at least measure 4 out of 5, pre-cut yarn with 100% accuracy, and you guys all did that completely great. So you guys did awesome. You guys are doing a fantastic job understanding, what a standard unit of measurement is, being the inches, centimeters, and then you have your miles per hour. And your non-standard unit of measurement, like we were doing today, you got your markers, the popsicle sticks. Does anybody have any questions or anything? No? Okay. So for the last part of today, we're going to go ahead and just recap a little bit. We're going to do one final game of who's taller. All right. So everybody go ahead and tell me, we're going to go ahead and vote really fast. Before we get to that, does anybody have any feedback for me? Any kind of most favorite part of today's lesson? Okay, utilizing the paper clips and clipping them together. All right, I like that too. Anything I could change differently? No? You guys really liked it? Me too. It was a fun lesson. So for today, right before we go ahead and end this class, I want everyone to tell me who you think's taller. All right, go ahead. Everyone, raise your hand. I'm gonna go ahead and call it two different people. I think safe to say I think Bill, and I don't know. I want to say that Roger over there. They're both pretty tall. So who do you think? Is it gonna be Bill or Roger? Hands up for everybody. Hands up for Roger. Everybody, hands up for Bill. All right, so pretty close. All right, Bill and Roger, come on up. Let's see who's taller. Let's do some back-to-back for the final showdown of who's taller. I'm going to make the judgment. Okay, here we go. Ah, it was Roger. That was really good, guys. You guys did awesome today. Well, look, if anybody has any questions or comments or concerns, please don't hesitate to let me know. This pretty much concludes our lesson plan of non-standard user measurement. All right, class, that was my lesson plan on for Education 623. Appreciate you guys watching today, and have a blessed day.